Okay, so let me explain what I was talking about before. So I'll explain that later if necessary. Is currently
Tempest.
the Leningrad Cowboys go to America,
Tempest.
which is
Tempest.
or it's by a Finnish director.
Mel, help me out here. Mel, she's going completely off the rails.
I'm gonna be so real with you.
Yeah?
When you first started talking about this, I thought you said the Lemongrab Cowboys.
I wish I said the Leningrad Cowboys.
And I was so much more confused, but also interested, and I was very... I don't even know.
Welcome to Open House, a podcast about comics about Homestuck, and an examination of digital stories in the 21st century. For our first episode, let's talk a little bit about who we are and what we're doing here. I'd like to leave this space for each of our panelists to explain their history with the Homestuck fan community. And we'll start off, Jess, how about you? What's your history?
Well...
And pronouns.
So I started with Homestuck in the grand old year of 2011. I caught up right in the middle of Murder Stuck. This would have been like right at the start of February 2011. And so I have been on this train since before Act 6, before Lord English was revealed, before Cascade, before we knew that Dog Scratch could take over the fucking CSS sheets on MSPA.com. I've been here for it all. I've been here through all the biggest pauses, and I guess I survived. And my pronouns are she and her.
That's great. Melanie.
I first got into Homestuck in 2014 when my girlfriend at the time said, "Hey, watch these funny Octopimp videos."
Oh, God.
And from there, it was just kind of history. I started a live-action Homestuck project that never made it off the ground, and that accidentally got me put in charge of an up-and-coming voice acting group that I have now been running for almost 10 years now.
Wow.
Called VOF Dubs. So
I did not know VOFT had that long of a history.
yeah.
Now, remind me, what does VOFT stand for again?
So it used to be Voices of Fandoms, because it used to be Voices of the Fandoms, but VOFT was a typo, and it sounded better rolling off the tongue than VOTF. So VOFT it was, and for the longest time, it just ended up being Voices of Fandoms, so we kept it a secret. And now it's Voiceover Fanatics Team, which is a little bit better.
I like the other one more, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, frankly, this is TF erasure, and I just can't condone that.
Oh, that's not what I meant. I meant that I liked the being the last word in the acronym. That's funny as hell.
Common mistake, but no, that the other one is what you meant.
Oh, well, my bad.
I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
And Melanie, pronouns.
Oh, she, he.
Awesome. Now, Sky.
I got into Homestuck in 2013. I started reading on April 13th, 2013.
That's crazy.
Because the girls in my dance class told me that was the important day. I should start on that one. It took me a month to read, and then that was during the mega pause. That's while June was laying on the slab of jaded ennui, and my first live update was Homestuck. Now I've been here for 12 years. She, her.
So now it's my turn. Back in middle school, I was sitting at a lunch table with some people who I could generously call friends. And one of them recommended this thing called Homestuck, and they said, "Oh, look it up on YouTube. There's a Let's Read." This is, of course, for those in the know, this is the Collab HQ Let's Read, later Voxus. I watched the first episode of that, and then I didn't think about it for a year. In 2014, I actually decided to start reading the comic again. And by reading the comic, I meant I listened to the Let's Read. And it was over from there. I read it in the worst way possible, where it started updating while I was still doing the Let's Read and I wasn't caught up yet. So I was keeping up with both the current comic and the Let's Read. It was a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. What?
Why
I'm
would you
just
do that?
silently shaking my head in shame.
Because I was a freak and a monster, and I did it wrong. I corrected this later, don't worry.
What, you unread the updates?
I've read everything. I've read all of it. But I didn't at the time. It was the worst way to read Homestuck as a new reader for the first time. But yeah, I was on MS-PARP, which... I really cut my teeth on fandom stuff with Cool and New Music Team, which is something I didn't know was real until I was in the Discord server. Cool and New Music Team was a very encouraging space as someone who has not really made art in a public setting before. You know, everything was expected to be bad, so you could try your heart out, and if it was bad, it was fine, because everything's supposed to be bad anyway. And now I ended up here somehow. After trying to make a fan venture in 2017, that not really working out, now I have a comic. And now I have a podcast. I forgot to mention I'm your host named Tempest, 2K, and my pronouns are she, her. For our first episode, we will be looking at Guidestuck, one of the oldest and, well, I wrote here probably most well-known fan ventures, but that can't be true anymore.
Not anymore, no.
That was definitely true at one point. I think maybe, I would say probably 2019 would have been the last year where Guidestuck was the most well-known.
Guidestuck is definitely the fan adventure that I've seen the most cosplays of out in, con spaces.
Oh, totally. They're very cosplayable characters.
Oh, 100%.
It was created by Scarvenrot. It began on August 14th, 2012, and ran all the way through July 1st, 2014. The premise is roughly as follows. A session of SBURB played by 4 kids that resemble the prototype sprites of each of the beta kids in Homestuck. The thing about Guidestuck is, I find it very interesting that it's very well known, but I've never seen anyone with opinions on it.
I have never heard of any of the actions that take place inside of it. No one's ever talked about the story beats or the character plot or any. It's people only talk about the character designs.
Yeah.
To its credit, they're good character designs. I like them.
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely love them, especially the Lucis designs. The Lucis designs are really good.
Yeah, those go pretty hard.
I like a lot of them. I like a decent amount.
The
of
troll
them.
designs are really good. The logistics of writing 12 similar but different trolls got a little out of hand.
Yeah, I do think it's strange that, not to get ahead of ourselves, but Gamzee just exists also in the space. He's just there.
As a feral bestial troll.
He's like a dog.
Well, they do state that, Arthur states that in Lucis society, they still all take care of a troll. So...
Yeah, wards, I think was the term he used.
Yeah. So Gamzee's still being there if Gamzee did not die during the session. I guess it makes sense still.
Yeah, it does. It does. The way that it introduces characters is very interesting. Because Homestuck does this thing a lot where it kind of teases a character existing and then doesn't show you them because it knows you're excited to see that character. But Guidestuck treats every single character like this, which is fascinating. I don't want to say it's poorly paced, but it's very interesting that that's the direction. You can tell that Scarvenrot had a lot of tropes that he very specifically liked in Homestuck and went all in on all of those.
Yeah, I will say it also with those Homestuck tropes, it also does, interestingly enough, and I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad thing, it does make each of the Guardians, their personalities feel like fan kids almost of 2 different Homestuck kids.
Like the Guardians of these characters, right?
Oh, sorry. I mean the actual characters. Sorry.
Right, the Doom kid. Right, no,
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Quinn specifically, I think is the most obvious fan kid trope.
Mm-hmm.
But I say that in a really loving way because I read Quinn's dialogue as soon as she like actually started getting a lot of logs, and I'm like, oh, this is like Scarvenrot obviously like cut his teeth with Homestuck roleplay. That's where so much of Quinn is coming from, and it's really obvious. And I think that was kind of nice to see how obvious that was.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems kind of inevitable that Quinn would be the one where that comes through the strongest, because obviously we're talking about Quinn Egbert, aka Harlequin, based on the Harlequin sprite of John Egbert and Homestuck, and the Harlequin sprite didn't really have much to say. Throughout its entire existence, it only spoke in wingdings. We never actually heard anything meaningful from it until after Nana was prototyped. So the Harlequin by itself kind of didn't have any character. So in adapting this to a human being, you're kind of working with an entirely blank slate. You know, with the others, should we go through and name at least the 4 main characters in the cast here?
Sure, yeah.
We've talked about Quinn Egbert, obviously.
I want to know who's your guys' favorite of the main 4?
Honestly, I was in the short amount that we were getting of Cal. I really liked Cal.
Cal Strider was real fun. Cal had gender going on.
Cal did have gender.
Yeah. Before we talk too much about that, there was also Beck Harley. Is that the last name they went with?
Yep. All the Guardians have the same last name as their original kids.
So there's
Beckriel Harley.
Yeah, Beckriel Harley.
I always skew like Beckrel, like it's a little bit of a squirrel.
Beckrel.
Becquerel is how that is pronounced.
Becquerel? Is that how that's pronounced? I never have known how to pronounce it correctly.
It's actually a unit of radiation.
Oh.
I like Jaspers.
Yeah, Jasper's the one.
Jasper's Friglish Lalonde. I do want to point out that Friglish is his middle name, and it's adorable.
I like
that. Delights me so much. I do like Jasper's a lot. And obviously Quinn is very cute. I think my favorite might be Beck Harley, who is the first character we're introduced to right on like page 2.
Yeah.
He's definitely the most like fleshed out.
Yeah.
And I do love little subtle ways that they bring the dog characterization into him. Like he's really, 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 really excited for the mail to come.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cute. That's cute.
One little thing that I wasn't thinking about until like the other day is that I really like that they juxtaposed Beck with Jade. By, Jade lives in this very tall tower. Beck's whole shit is underground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really liked that they made it a huge underground, like bunker type thing, comparably.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
There's a lot of thought put into making them more different from the Homestuck kids, because there's a lot of ways you could have just kept things the same. Like all the houses could have been exactly the same.
Yeah,
and they don't have. He runs out of ideas a little bit because Quinn's house is just mirrored, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like that Quinn has a very like fancy like bed and stuff.
Yeah, the rooms don't look the same, but the house layout is just mirrored.
Yeah, going along with her princess theming, she has the princess curtains on her bed.
Yeah.
I like how they worked all the kids in so that they could get prototyped in different ways, as though we only ever see one payoff.
I need to have the John Ragdoll.
But yeah, there's only time for one of them to pay off, but they did a lot of fun stuff with it. I like that they made, what are their names? I like that they made Sawtooth and Squarewave just guys. They're just guys.
Yes!
Oh my god. As much as, like, he was a little bit of an annoyance, the design for Squarewave was adorable.
Yeah.
He was so cute.
Oh, yeah.
I liked Liv Tyler, too.
Yeah.
I didn't actually catch right away until I was, like, scouring around for notes that was supposed to be, like, Liv Tyler the bunny. I just didn't make that connection right away.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why would... my thought was just, like, why would Strider have the bunny? That's the character that's, like, the least associated with, it feels like.
It's because that's Dirk's doll, and that plays a part into it.
Right.
It's not just a one-for-one swap the sprites and the kids. There's a few different things at play.
And also, like, the bird isn't a part of it.
I'll tell you this. I figured out that was supposed to be Liv Tyler About 20 seconds ago when you said that.
She gets name dropped once as Liv, and that's it.
Yeah, the moment they said the name was Liv, I was like, well, the only Liv that could be is Liv Tyler. Like,
Right. I think I just missed the Liv.
I was thinking like Olivia something, I don't know.
fair.
But yeah, you can wake up pretty late in the day to get one by me. Mine like a wet paper bear trap.
But yeah, like Jess was saying, it is interesting that they went with Cal from the Doom timeline comparably to the Crow. And I understand definitely that Cal is like very much the more interesting choice. But if we were trying to stay with the theme of like the sprites, the Crow is more accurate, I guess.
I think it's interesting because, okay, so I went down a rabbit hole for this one, and I don't exactly remember my source for this, but I had to look very hard because I swear that when I was reading like old Tumblr blogs on like the web archive and stuff, I could have sworn I found scarvenrot calling this group of players the Doomed Kids.
Okay.
Like I thought that was the bit they're doomed, and we also see in the comics several times they're told that they are all doomed. They are all going to die, and that's just a matter of fact.
Yeah, there's a future character running around trying to fix things and not doing a good job of it.
Right, and I think that might have something to do with why. It's probably just a retroactive justification, because from what I could find, these character designs all existed before the fan venture was actually made.
Mm-hmm.
And the fan venture is just like, let's make a story with these, because that would be fun. And they're right, it is fun. But I think that the reason they chose Cal over the Crow is that, first of all, this was 2012. The designs were probably made even earlier, like probably maybe up to 8 months earlier. Okay, never mind. I was doing math in my head and I realized that what I was about to say didn't make sense. I was going to say that like the timeline on picking Cal might have had something to do with the comic, but even by 2011, the Cal sprite was old news.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Cal Sprite was Act 4.
Yeah, it's very easy to forget that as old of a work this is and as early as a work that it is, the comic was already at the Alpha Kit.
Right.
That's insane.
It is very insane. It also, knowing that, like, it makes so much sense why this is the way that it is, because it's kind of, it feels like it's riffing on Act 6 as much as it's riffing on early Homestuck. It feels like it's riffing on Act 6 more than early Homestuck. I mean, I don't even remember a single Silodex gag. This is not going from the angle of being interested in the nerdy computer science angle. This is someone who is interested in the characters and the cute art that you can make.
Yeah. The only Silodex gag comes in the form of Beck Harley's fetch modus, which is to say, the fetch modus.
That was a good bit.
I love that bit.
Really good.
Because, it captchalogs normally, and then when you retrieve an item, it launches it across the room for a dog to fetch.
It's so simple and it's so good.
Because we've kind of touched on this, but we should say it outright. The 4 original beta kids exist sort of in the role that their sprites started as in the original Homestuck. So Beck Harley has a teeny little adorable black puppy named Jade.
I did like the design of little puppy Jade.
Puppy Jade was adorable.
Yeah.
There
was
right,
Friglish's
yes.
cat Rose,
Yes.
which was a white cat named Rose.
John was a doll and Dave was a puppet.
Right, Dave and Bro
Yeah.
get to be puppets. I like that Cal fucking hates Dave for no reason, whereas Dave has a very valid reason for hating Cal.
Why would you name your puppet Dave? There's no narrative justification for that.
Yeah.
It's like, I made this guy, I hate him, his name's Dave.
I don't know if the full depth of how justified Dave was in hating Cal had been revealed at this point in Homestuck's history.
I don't know. If you look at that, if you look at those early pages,
Yeah.
I feel like you can look at that and be like, yeah, it makes sense why Dave would fucking hate this thing.
I don't think the word chuckle voodoo was in comic till Openbound.
Really?
I think it got used as a one-off kind of during the late Act 5 when Scratch is narrating, and it shows the scene where Gamzee uses his chuckle voodoos to put the doll into John's dream room.
Right.
But we didn't know at that back then that in addition to being from Gamzee, that Cal was a vessel for Lord English's soul.
I'm Lord English. Could it be that simple?
and thus, like, factually the most evil doll ever to have existed in all of reality, as they put it towards the end.
It makes sense.
I do think it's interesting. There are a lot of different art styles in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
It feels very like it's not in the same way that Homestuck has different art styles. It feels like the art styles in here are mostly all trying to mimic Homestuck in some way, but they don't always, and sometimes they don't. Like page 82 is it just kind of looks like a rough like sketch, which is not a bad thing, but I think it's very interesting to juxtapose that with pages immediately around it that, yeah, like those Beck eyes or Jasper eyes. My bad.
Yeah, page 164. I wrote it down as being like a little huss nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I think he was probably going for Zamag, like Cascade Zamag.
Yeah, like the rows with the Lord English coat page.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
I really like the design of Jasper's Dead.
Yeah, Maplehoof, which I did not realize that was supposed to be Maplehoof until, well, I'll tell that story a little bit later. But it took me for outside sources to realize that was supposed to be Maplehoof. I also want to mention the computer design. Oh my god, I love it. It's so simple. It looks like, I don't know how else to put it. It looks like it was made in 2012. This looks like someone fucking around in Photoshop in 2012, and I love it for that.
And it also does very specifically evoke, like, Windows 98 era.
I was gonna say, while we were still on the topic of art styles, I did want to point out that it does feel like also the kids and like just essentially all the humans are in a slightly different art style than I guess not art style, but like when we look at the Luci and the trolls, they're rendered differently.
Yeah, they're lineless. They're a little less nasty.
Yeah, and I really like that.
The trolls, the Ludluses, it looks like they very specifically got inspiration from some of the Act 5, Act 2 flashes. It's a little Lexi, it's a little Bogan, it's a little from Make Her Pay onward.
Yeah, for sure. It eschews the earlier Homestuck style of like black outline, white fill, and it goes for very much the full color designs that you started seeing around that era, yeah.
Which again, a major focus on the character design in this comic.
Mm-hmm. And there are some good ones.
This comic does seem, and this is not a judgment because there's so many comics that do this, and I can hardly blame them. Because if you have character designs that you like and you want to have an excuse to draw more of them, why not make a comic that exists purely to show off your character designs? And that feels like what Guidestuck is. I mean, that is basically what Guidestuck is. I believe that's part of the FAQ. I mean, not like literally exactly, but I think it is very interesting that Guidestuck is a comic that is primarily motivated by giving you an excuse to show new guys.
Yeah. Also, I see you've linked the photo of Fefri's Lucis, aka Glub Glub, or whatever she would end up being called in the comic.
Yeah.
And hello, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked Arthur's design the most. It kind of stinks, but I love it.
He's awful in the best way. He's just a guy. He's like Antoine.
Like from Sonic? Yeah. He is like Antoine.
He this is One Punch Man because he can only take one punch.
He has the design of like a B tier Casper ghost. This is Casper's friend that's in one episode.
Oh man, that's brutal.
God, that's so mean, but you're not wrong.
No, I think it's perfect for him. I don't think it's a bad choice on the designer's part.
Oh yeah, yeah, especially for Arthur of all people. It's perfect.
Yeah.
They shy away from his udder a little too much. They can get more humanimal with it.
That's true. I think
Yeah.
the Lucci would be way more fun if they were just all in on the humanimals angle, but I also know that that's probably not something Scarvenrot would have ever been interested in drawing.
I don't think we ever got a clear shot, but I did like the little peeks at Spider Mom's design that we saw.
Yeah.
Spider Mom is one of those. This is something that's gonna come up a lot in this podcast. Spider Mom feels like she was written by someone who hates Vriska for no reason. I don't know if we should have like a counter or a tally. We're putting that at 1.
Indeed, she was written by a 2012 Homestuck fan. You're absolutely right.
But I also think that in the case of it being Spider Mom, her being that outwardly malicious, I guess, it makes sense given the context of what Spider Mom was to Vriska.
It does make sense. I'm just not sure if people were actually thinking about it from that angle in 2012. I mean, I wasn't there, I don't know, but I feel like people weren't thinking about that part of it back then. Even though that is that is absolutely true. There is a valid link to make there.
I think the Spider Mom's dialogue really works. I think it does capture Spider Mom, although I didn't get the quirk. I did my best to research and couldn't justify the quirk.
It was just a cool looking S. That was it.
A cool looking S. But I think it is interesting that they Tetrised in the whole Vriska Terezi subplot into the background while the kids are still entering. We have one kid in the session and we're already have Terezi and Vriska on the roof stabbing each other.
Yep.
Which there's no acts in.
Yeah, there is.
There's no end of acts. There's no structures, anything like that. It's just the story.
There is an end of Act 1.
Is there?
Yeah.
I didn't have that in my notes. Zach for Gore.
Yeah, well, it would have been. I guess it would have been when Beck entered, right?
It was actually right when Jade is about to be prototyped.
Oh, okay.
And then you go to the flashback of when Beck first found Jade.
However, I know why you thought there wasn't acts or structure. I know why. I wrote down here in my notes, end of Act 1. Interestingly, looking at the log, there doesn't appear to be an Act 2. The story just sort of continues from here.
Oh.
Yeah, it seemed like that was meant to be one of those, brief between acts interludes, and then you'd get a proper Act 2, but we never really got it. It just kind of faded back into regular story.
Which, yeah, I don't know how intentional that was.
In Homestuck, between Acts 1 and 2, you got the first little sneak peek panels of WV, wandering through the landscape and stumbling on the command terminal. We didn't get a follow-up on that till later, but that was kind of stuck in between there, and then you got a clean break. Act 2 begins, back to the kids. And that wasn't really carried over here.
Right. I would like to just take a moment to appreciate how cute Quinn is.
Quinn.
I saved so many panels of Quinn.
Quinn is absolutely adorable.
Quinn is so cute.
I think from what exists of Guidestuck, Beck has the most going on, but I do think Quinn is absolutely the cutest in my book.
I got so many Quinns. There's some.
This is not good audio content.
Yeah.
Also, every character in this blushes a whole lot.
Yeah, they really do.
There is so much teen relationship drama.
It's teen relationship drama. Everyone's blushing. Everyone's flirting. Everyone's ruining their lives.
There's a lot of teen drama in Homestuck Act 6 too, but there is not nearly this much close-up shots of blushing and people going
yeah.
Yeah, there really was just a lot of okay, this person has crushes on this person, and this person has a crush on this person, this person has a crush on this person, and these two are like sort of a thing. At least I don't know if it's.
And these ones
like,
are kind of in a love triangle. And,
Yeah.
and this one, they don't know how they feel about each other. What's going to go on? Tune in next week to find out.
This one just killed the other one's dog.
it's a lot of setup for what I think could have been genuinely pretty good, but by itself, it does feel like a lot in a short amount of time.
It's very front loaded, and when your story ends up trickling out, that ends up being kind of a negative. Not necessarily, it probably would have been fine if it was longer, but if you get rapid fire exposition and then no payoff for that exposition, you're just reading a wiki page.
Homestuck gets a lot of its pacing, its good pacing, just for free by nature of its length. There's always other stuff happening in between all the drama. There's always time for the characters to run around their house for a bit in between conversations, and that doesn't happen here. You'll get 3-4 conversations just rapid fire.
Yeah, I think that is just like a symptom of fan comics in general, because I think when it comes to Homestuck, there was a lot, like, you get that slow start of Acts 1 and 2, because it's very much introducing you to the game and to the universe, where in a lot of fan comics, they kind of expect you to go in already with that knowledge. So they're like, you already have the knowledge, let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of the story.
And I've definitely, seen that mentioned in a few different spaces about that being a positive when it comes to like fan fiction in general.
Mm-hmm.
I do think for what's meant to be a more standalone adventure like this, you do need a little more of that build up, because it's a lot of like, skip to the good parts without the recognition that, oh, those parts are only good because you spent so long building them up and getting people to realize why they're important.
You're only having your dessert.
How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? That's a musical reference.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen Pink Floyd?
She's listened to Pink Floyd. We were just talking about this over dinner the other day.
Oh, I haven't. I have listened to Dark Side of the Moon and didn't care for it. I did that. I listened to it.
Regular version or Nostalgia Critic?
Yes.
Sky?
Well, no. The Nostalgia Critic didn't do the one for Dark Side of the Moon. He did one for The Wall.
You did one for The Wall, which is what Jess was referencing.
Yeah, I was referencing The Wall.
Oh, yeah. I haven't listened to that one. I've listened to Dark Side of the Moon, and whether or not I've listened to Nostalgia Critic's The Wall can be left up to interpretation.
Animals is the best album.
To tie it back into Guidestuck, that does raise the point. Not a lot of external media references in this. Just a lot of self-contained storytelling.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
There's a few posters, because there's always got to be posters on the kids' walls, but they don't really stop and look at them, which is usually a staple of fanventures.
Yeah, like the posters in this, like what, Beck has zoo books?
Yeah, zoo books.
The tiger
poster.
poster.
Jaspers has a bunch of Alfred Hitchcock movie posters, which I don't think those screams something about the character's personality in quite the same way as, John's Nick Cage obsession.
Mm-hmm.
It does kind of seem like scarvenrot might have just watched a bunch of movies lately and thought, oh shit, those were so good.
Like, Hitchcock is just like a very mainstream, well-regarded director in movie history.
Yeah.
It's not like, why are you so obsessed with this guy?
I myself am a little guilty of this. In Fateful Heights, the first room that we see posters in is Vast Air, a comic that I like, and then 2 movies I thought would be funny to put on the wall, which is Shrek the Third and Spider-Man 2, the 2010 Spider-Man 2.
I think Shrek just automatically fits in with the Homestuck milieu. I think
does,
I think you did fine on that one.
I feel at this juncture, I need to address what is, to me, the elephant in the room vis-a-vis Guidestuck.
Okay.
Now, while I was reading, while you were reading, you, the audience at home, may have decided to read Guidestuck. You may have noticed that there are some pages, and by some I mean I think there's only like a couple.
There's like 2
pages that just do not exist. They have flash pages that do not exist. There was one case of a panel that didn't exist, but I found that and actively replaced it. I believe I fixed that already. Which leads me to I had to find flashes for this and like actively fix them, which like I think it's very fun to have encountered something that was at one time so big, now like in active process of decaying from link rot.
But enough about Homestuck.
Yeah.
This comic's
Like-
readable.
Like Homestuck itself, it's well, it's in danger of becoming like Homestuck itself in the case that it may not be. Well, you can still read it. The text will always be on MSPFA, but the images might go away. And a few months ago when we first started Guidestuck as the first episode, I ended up deciding to try and take up the mantle of fixing Guidestuck, of just replacing the pages that would be lost to link rot. And as of recording, I have replaced exactly one page. Sorry, two.
I mean, did you get Beck Enter working? I had to look it up on YouTube.
Which one? Back enter? I don't remember if I got that one working.
There is a link on the page that leads to a Newgrounds version of it that I watched it
Yeah,
on.
I was able to watch it on there.
Right. I think I also looked at that one. I also found some other site that just archived some Guidestuck animation. For some reason, the Quinn Strife page uses HTML5, and it's on Flashpoint, but I don't know how to get it from Flashpoint to actually working on the website.
Yeah, I did not experience that page at all.
Any of the interactive flashes just kept leading to 404 pages for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that the walk around with Jaspers is just lost. That one's just gone.
I spent a night looking for that. It's not saved anywhere.
I've asked everyone involved who could possibly know. I talked to the Guidestuck Squared team, which lovely people that I was able to get in contact with. They seem like really nice people over there. None of them have, basically, to my understanding, the only interaction they've had with scarvenrot is like, hey, can we make a sequel or like a continuation? And scarvenrot was like, yeah, that's cool. And there hasn't really been any communication other than that. As far as we know, nobody has those files. They're just gone, wiped off the earth.
Editor's note. This episode of the podcast was recorded some time ago. The issues about to be discussed are no longer the case, but this segment has been retained for posterity and historical relevancy.
Yeah, I did think this was relevant to mention because of the current state of Homestuck. If you go to homestuck.com right now, you just get an error page. If you try to look for specific Homestuck pages, you're more likely to find the like new index version that you could find.
I googled for a page earlier today, and I ended up at the MSPFA French translation of Homestuck. That was the best place it could send me.
Yeah.
So ends our tour of Viz's devastation.
I will say really quickly, speaking of Jasper's Go Find Your Dad, I think is the name of that page. I'm gonna be honest, I really liked the interaction, like the more in-depth interaction that Guidestuck gave between the kids and their guardians. Like the interaction between Jasper's and his dad, the info that we got about Quinn's mom, the short little bit we got with like Liv saying, like, deciding it's like, you know, protecting Cal is worth more to me than getting laid right now.
Which, respect.
Yeah, like little interactions like that were really good. I really liked it.
I like that in turn this also characterizes Sawtooth, because Sawtooth is like, oh fuck, what?
Yeah.
But no, there were a lot of greater interactions. The only thing is that I think Beck actually has like less interaction with his grandpa than Jade had with hers.
Yeah, which is wild,
Yeah.
considering.
And then also he's, okay, I don't want to go this whole podcast without mentioning it. For some reason, Beck's grandpa has a bunch of Playboy shit all over the house.
Yeah,
he
like
runs
his
a pornography magazine where girls pose nude with puppies. That's
Right.
the whole character right there. It's very weird.
Yeah. and he apparently is under the guise that his grandfather was a spy. Like, oh,
The robe that he gets of his grandpa's, which I think Jasper like gives to him through server player powers, is embroidered with the initials HH. Now, I'm of a slightly older generation. There.
I got it. I played that
notice.
game.
Oh, guys, it's just like Wolfenstein. It's the flag from Wolfenstein.
no.
That's not where I was going at all.
It's
No.
not at all
No.
with HH.
Because there is in real life this magazine with a furry animal as a logo where women pose nude, who is owned by a man who commonly wears a robe with the initials HH, and his name is or was Hugh Hefner.
Hugh
well,
Hefner.
I don't know the Playboy lore, so I didn't know.
You don't know the
Someone said
Playboy
video
lore?
game. Oh, because of Playboy the Mansion. I should know this.
My dad bought me the Playboy video game for PS2,
Yeah.
so I know that lore.
I heard video game and HH, and I remembered the College Humor sketch about Wolfenstein.
Fair.
As a girl with a birthday in the year of 1988, trust me, I know what you're talking about.
Oh my god. Yeah, okay.
I
Yeah.
had to learn that one at a young age.
Yikes.
I can't use my birth year in usernames.
Yeah, that's...
Ooh.
But the bit here is that Beck's grandpa is essentially Hugh Hefner,
Yeah.
Playboy guy. Which, frankly, is the closest to Dave's bro that exists in this universe.
Or what I would imagine
with a-
to be Hugh Harley or something of that nature.
Yeah, that's probably it.
accurate, yeah.
Who knows where that bit would have actually gone.
I would like to hear where some of these bits were going. There's a lot of long-term bits set up, especially with the ancestors and even teasing some scratch stuff that just never gets paid off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a brief second of a grandpa doggy.
Yeah. But yeah, I really liked seeing Jake and Jane dogs like right at the end there.
Yeah.
those
They're
were
really
good.
cute.
There was clearly something, like, they were clearly doing something with that. I don't think we even mentioned that Jade, well, we kind of mentioned it, but Jade does get prototyped and is a very cute puppy.
Yes.
I like that she carries with her the essence of still being Jade Harley. So when she gets prototyped, she just becomes Jade. She's
Yeah,
not a
she
dog
has the
sprite,
glasses.
She's a Jade sprite.
And then, do we even know what the others would have prototyped? I don't think we know for sure. Well, I mean, I guess if we follow the pattern.
They're probably all going to get the beta kids.
Yeah, we would have gotten Ragdoll John Sprite, Puppet Dave Sprite, and then
Rose Kitten.
Rose Kitten Sprite.
Yeah, Rose the cat.
Because Dave and Rose both had things before, right?
Dave had a crow and Rose had a Cthulhu princess puppet.
Yeah, and I didn't really see any strong equivalents for those in the bits that we got of their equivalents in this.
Yeah, no, those two motifs
Yeah.
are just missing.
Maybe it would have been introduced had it run longer, but
It's maybe that's like the direction they were gonna take some of the Lucai stuff. It's possible that like the Feferi Lucai was going to get more involved as like a Jasper's adjacent character later. I could see that
Yeah.
being a way to reintroduce that motif.
I think just as a whole, Guidestuck had a lot of potential to be really good, but in the state that it is, not looking at like Guidestuck squared, it's very front loaded and confusing because we never got to see the payoff to a lot of bits.
have you ever seen that pterodactyl Spider-Man meme
Yeah.
Not at all. What?
where he's like, you have all this genetic engineering power, you could cure cancer. I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs. This is like, you could have told an incredibly interesting and rich story. I don't want to tell interesting stories. I want to write about teen romance.
That's as was the style at the time.
yeah, very much.
I don't know. I think it had the potential to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't go unsaid. This falls flat to a Homestuck fan in 2025, but it's very much in line with the sort of fanfics you were seeing at the time.
Yeah.
There has been across the board a raising of the skill floor for fandom works. You can't make a mainstream fandom work and be known in the fandom with something like this today. It's so much harder today. Mostly just because there's more people.
The bar has been raised, and specifically it was raised quite a bit on April 13th, 2019. With the epilogues dropping. The epilogues are good. You guys are just mean.
Epilogues are so good. I think the way that I feel about Guidestuck in it, like, not looking at Guidestuck squared, because I have not read that personally. But the way that I feel about Guidestuck is the way that I felt about, like, Homestuck Beyond Canon before, like, Homestuck squared before it became Beyond Canon. Like, back when it was still just left on its own, I was like, there's a lot of potential here to see, like, and I'm really excited to see where they're going to go with this. But as I know currently, there's no plans to do that, and it's really sad that I never got to see where they were going with that.
And Guidestuck has just been trapped like that for a decade.
Exactly, and that's kind of like where I stand. It's like I'm excited. I wish I could have seen where he was going with this.
Yeah, but so many of these things fall off, and that's just the nature of creative works.
Yeah.
But you know what? It played a note in the grand symphony that is the Homestuck fandom and the MSPA fandom specifically. It happened. It was there. It mattered.
Yeah.
Drew a lot of people to MSPFA, if I recall.
Oh, yeah.
And now, for the first time on the internet, we are the first 4 people to ever have an opinion on Guidestuck online. We did it. We've made a landmark
We did it,
history.
guys.
Woo! If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow us on the appropriate platforms like YouTube and Bluesky. This episode was edited by Daria Cascato. Main theme is Delta Version by Rom M. Credits music by Ash Taylor. I'm Tempest2K.
I'm Fender Jazz.
I'm Melanie Archer.
I'm Skylar Skyplayer.
And I'm so sorry I killed your dog.